Space Marine 2 is out, and it's kind of taken the internet by storm in a way, because everyone is so split 50-50, one side of the coin, the other side, you know what I mean? And it's in a state that it's really conflicting for me, because I'm one of the ones that enjoyed it, and it's not really like a black and white thing. I don't think you can really take a stance like that. Like, to break things down bit by bit, the campaign is kind of average, maybe like just above average per se. Like, the whole game as a whole is like, the gameplay is fun, don't get me wrong. You're like, it's still the same as the first game. You have those bolters and you just shoot into swarms of Tyranids, and you feel the testosterone pumping through your blood. It's yeah, it feels very visceral, it feels good to play, but going through the campaign, it's just like just above average when you think of like the story. Like, be real about it, in a realistic sense. What is the game like? It's fun. The gameplay is fun. The story takes a back burner, and there are actually multiplayer modes this time. You can do operations in like a co-op mode with friends, and just say screw the campaign, because the campaign doesn't really boost your multiplayer level in any way, so that kind of sucks. So you just play the story campaign for the story, which is very, like, just above average again. The PvP is in a state where it feels like an afterthought, but the gameplay is still fun, so I can't really hate it. It's it's kind of got like the Call of Duty spawns. You can get spawn camped if your team sucks. There's different classes, and it's kind of like a rock paper scissors. Like, what am I thinking? The heavy is really good. Like, you can just lay into people, kill them within like 2 seconds with a big fucking machine gun. But they've got no melee, so what counters that? You throw on a vanguard with his grapple hook, and you just pounce onto them. And even then, like, you have the bulwark with the shield, and just run at them with your shield, take no range damage, and just annihilate them. But then again, if you've got the bulwark with the shield, you can use the grapple hook guy and just stun him, and then lay into him. It's really like rock paper scissors, as I was saying. So it's all right. The gameplay is fun, but it's really bare bones. The devs have a roadmap, and they're actually doing a lot with the game, which is a lot better than some. Actually, it's a lot better than most. And with the operations, you can play with your mates and level up your multiplayer level like that. You can get new gear from it. You have like skill trees. It's fun. The gameplay is just fun. And I played through the campaign on Veteran, and I have a love-hate relationship with that, because when I first started, Veteran is the intended gameplay experience, apparently. But it's definitely not a good solo experience, because as I was starting my campaign, there was a major like skill flaw, and I never actually failed throughout my whole campaign thing. Like, died. You can get down like it was Left 4 Dead and then picked up a very certain a number of times, and then you die. But that's never happened to me once while playing the game. I think the only time it was like twice I actually died, and it was the final area, and I was using the jump pack, and I was just in combat and dashed over the edge and died to full damage, because I just fell to my death into an abyss. Awesome. Yeah, but there is a filter with the campaign difficulty. Enemies are really spongy on Veteran and above, and it took me like halfway through the whole campaign to realise, oh, if I use this weapon and shoot them this amount of times and then dash melee them and hit them with a special, then I can execute them and they're dead. So there are ways to get around that, and your pattern recognition, pick it up, as humans were all intended to do, and you will learn to kick ass. But at the same time, when I first started, through the first like mission or two, I was like, should I turn the difficulty down? Because I'm getting laid up. I am almost dying. I'm glad I didn't at the end of the day, but at the same time, if you do the intended experience, just be prepared for that. It can be a bit rough. Let's just leave it at that. There are a few quote-unquote bosses throughout the game, in the campaign. I remember one of them just becomes a mini-boss when you first encounter him. Like, he actually is a boss, but he becomes reused into like a unique regular enemy. So, yeah, that kind of sucked when that happened. And there is like another boss that comes up, but he's reused like twice or something. And then the actual unique boss of the game is, he's quite a bullet sponge. Let's put it like that. It's he's reused twice, and then the final time you fight him is just extended. He's a lot more bullet spongy, he's got more phases to him, and that kind of sucked, but it was alright from a gameplay perspective. There are other ways you can find to exploit the game as well. Kind of like, again, that halfway point, I found out the parry system. You can exploit the hell out of that. You can just, even when you don't get a parry indicator, you know, that blue circle that shows up on an enemy when they give it away, you can just learn the timings for every single attack every enemy has in melee, and you don't need that indicator to get a perfect parry, and then just shoot them in the face. And if they're executable after that, the elites and stuff, you can just shoot them in the face again in a kind of quick time scene thing, and then just blow them away twice in a row and they're dead. It's really funny. It's very funny. I also learned there are quite a few enemies that can do way too much damage when you, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, it's advertised in the game that Chaos is in there, and yeah, some of the enemies from there can do way too much damage, way too fast. Yeah, they can just 100 to 0 you in a few bursts. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the main antagonist of the story, he has pretty funny voice acting, kind of like a tropey evil villain kind of stuff. It's a good laugh. There are quite a few characters actually in the story. They get forgettable after a while. The main guys you're with, they kind of go through their phases through the story with like drama, and it's a bit of an eye roll sometimes because they just do the same thing over and over. But it's consistent with their characters and their personality, so I can't hate it too much, really. Yeah, I think for some reason one of my favourite parts in the whole game is literally the tutorial, because you look so cool when you're in the Death Watch. Oh my god, that like black armor and everything, it's just, you look like a badass with your bros. And yeah, oh my god, it's awesome. Before I forget as well, there's like, even the performance was a bit subpar. It didn't matter if it was on high for me or medium, low, that didn't matter. When there was a lot, avoiding spoilers of course, when there was a lot of, per se, action or flames on the screen, there was a lot of, say, like stuttering in the background. Everything was a bit slow for my system to keep up. Hopefully it's not for everyone, but yeah, just be warned if you're gonna get this game, or wait for a sale. Probably better to wait for a sale, I'll be honest. The development that they're going to be doing for next year seems like a lot, and it's free content as far as I know, so yeah, feel free to wait for a sale. You're not missing much. There's also plenty of ways to get around buying the game if you like that as well. Yeah, wait for a sale if you need. No judgment here, man. But yeah, that's kind of all there is to cover, and I still hold my stand that the game is a flawed but really fun game. It's probably like in a realistic sense, I want to give it like an 8, but it's probably a 7 out of 10, let's be real. There are a lot of flaws. The campaign is kind of just above average. Operations is fun with friends, because it's just like you play as side characters from the campaign, and you see their perspective on different missions, because different squads do different things in the campaign, and you just get to see their side. It's pretty cool. The PvP is also flawed, but it's very flawed, but the classes make it fun, and some of the voice lines are really hilarious, especially in the chaos. It's really cool. That's literally it. 7 out of 10 if you know what you're getting into and you're in it for the fun. You want to feel the testosterone pump into you as you shoot a bolter into hordes of enemies. It's fun. It can get really stale about 2/3 of the campaign. Like the last planet, I was kind of getting a bit like over it. I was like, oh, when's this going to end? Because it was starting to wear down on me. But you know, it stays consistent, it stays true. If you're into that and you can jive with it and co-op or with some friends and PvP even, it's a good time. Yeah, great game. Yeah, thank you guys for all your support. I'm gonna keep sticking with this as I can through my distractions with uni, and I'm gonna see what I can play next, because gaming is kind of taking a hit. There's a lot of stale games and really bad games that just keep coming out, and AAA games just suck more as time goes. But there are a few good golden ones in there, kind of diamond in the rough like this, that is flawed but also great. But there are some perfect games out there, and that will continue to come out very rarely, and I'll keep an eye on them for you guys.
Signs down 90% and fall. Swarm annihilation confirmed.